This video presentation is made possible by the SLO County Department of Education and the SLO Co-Arts Collaborative. For over a century, the Central Coast of California has been a haven for people from all walks of life. Pioneers, entrepreneurs, farmers, innovators, artists, dreamers. People escaping the city life to find beautiful landscapes, rich culture, seeking prosperity, and most importantly, joy. For a lot of us, we find joy in art, whether we're makers or just lucky enough to enjoy the art of others.
Hi, I'm Peter Henry Schroeder. I'm a local documentary filmmaker here in San Luis Obispo County. I invite you to come with me now as we actually get to go talk to some of these artists firsthand and learn about what makes them tick. What are some of the challenges they face, and how do they do this on a day-to-day basis? Where does their inspiration come from, and how do they actually find the joy in their art? What really gives them that creative juice?
My name is Dan Curcio, and I'm the lead singer and songwriter for Moonshiner Collective. We're a Americana, we call it Californicana. Kind of a mix of rock, blues, reggae, good amount of different styles of genres that we kind of blend together and make it our own.
You've dealt with the hand you've been given, just doing the best that you can. The old house of cards keeps on falling, but it's all been sleight of hand.
I started with acoustic guitar. I started singing early on. I was lucky. I had a room upstairs. Growing up in Sacramento, I was on like the other side of the house, so I had an upstairs room. My parents were like definitely on the other side of the house. Not a big house, but just enough separation to where I could get, nice and loud and sound terrible. You're gonna sound bad at first, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of the process. I never actually really had formal lessons. I had choir in high school, and I liked that, but it's trial and error. You're gonna have to fall down to get up and make it sound better. It just takes a lot of hours and a lot of, hard work.
The calm and the chaos we wade through, fleeting moments of joy and of pain, all the triumphs and struggles define us, and we all just want to be seen.
I was really blessed to come from a family life that was very healthy. My parents were super supportive. I mean, they definitely had a lot of their, concerns, especially in high school. They thought I was crazy, to try to want to make this a living, but they were supportive nonetheless. And just having like a great family dynamic made me, the biggest priority in my life is wanting to be a family man. And I have two young daughters.
And I just want you to know you are seen. Yes, I just want you to know you are seen.
I was looking up to, Bob Dylan, all these, Van Morrison, all these idols of mine growing up, and like Ben Harper. How do I get to that level where I just realized ultimately that's not the important end goal.
Maybe we all find a way to contentment in the final act of our scene, and we'll wake up to new realizations. It's all been like a dream.
I want to have balance to life. I want to be a present father. I don't want to be on the road all the time. I want to be there for my family, and I want to have make a living doing what I love. So,
as you dealt with the hand you'd been given, just doing the best that you could. The old house of cards kept on falling. It will be understood.
as long as I'm able to accomplish those, that's success. I don't need to play in front of 10,000, 20,000 people to feel good about myself. And I think that was a hard thing to overcome, because I did have that mindset back then. I wanted to play to 40,000 screaming fans, at this point we're playing to, we usually, 300, 400, 500 people that are singing a lot of the words to our songs, and that feels great, and it's able to afford us this life of living on the Central Coast and being present for my family. I'm originally from Sacramento, but I moved here for Cal Poly 20 years ago, and I've been here ever since. Just couldn't leave. Love the Central Coast. As I got into college, I knew I wanted to start a band. I started a band called Still Time. So I knew from like pretty much sophomore year in high school that this is what I had to do. Had some good success with that. We traveled the country a few times with that band, and then it segued into Moonshiner Collective as like my more long-term like songwriter collective project that will hopefully be what I do for the rest of my life, because I don't want to ever rebrand again. So I lived at a yurt property in Cayucas for a few years with Still Time at the tail end of our time with that band, and we'd have all these interesting artists come through like G-Love and the Special Sauce or like Dirty Heads or whatever. Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats came with his old band, you know, and so we'd have these really great musicians coming through and jamming with us, and it just kind of spurred the idea of working with different artists, working with different bandmates throughout the years. It's been meant to be always fluid in terms of the lineup and the way that we write music and the types of song choices that we'll take on and stuff like that. All that being said, I finally found, after all these years, a band that's, and that's absolutely no disrespect to my previous bandmates, but I found a group that's just, I'm hoping it's, for a very long time together, because we got an amazing band going on right now. So I've always loved just kind of creating and doing our own thing rather than like following the norm. I think if I was playing covers like straight up, like exactly the way it is I would be bored out of my mind. But we make songs our own, so they're like, we'll do like Waterfalls by TLC, or we'll do California Love by Tupac or whatever, and we'll put our own spin on it. And people, I think, respect that, and they see that we have the original music side to what we do, so they kind of respect that part, and they're not calling out Freebird all the time with us, So I love the autonomy of what I do. I love being able to be in charge of how we want to do things, and mainly just because I want to make sure it's always aligning with my goals of being a present father. The norm is to be touring and to be on the road, and you have a big team and blah, blah, blah. So maybe a decade ago, I made that mental shift, towards having balance in life, because being the best, like you said, the best guitarist in the world or the best whatever, like, man, that's a road. And that's not to say that it's not doable, and if that's truly what lights your fire, all good. But to me, it was just the balance of life, and knowing that every day when I woke up to work, it didn't feel like work, and it never has. It's never felt like work. Your job is to entertain a certain amount of people for a certain amount of time, and luckily I absolutely love that task. But it is a business just like any other, and you have to be on time, you have to be on point, you have to dress decently well and look the part and care. And I've definitely, part of why the band is called Moonshiner Collective is I've known for a long time that us musician folk we tend to be flighty, we tend to partake in a little too much beverage, and I've been guilty of that for sure. I've had iterations of this band where that was a challenge, being on time, being dressed professionally and that kind of stuff. But anyways, my point is, all that stuff, it totally matters. I've never felt like I'm some rock star that can just show up when I want to, or like, come in all hungover or drunk or whatever. Like, I think that, that stuff, you can't get away with that for a long time, especially if you're trying to work regionally. The way I've always seen it is, if I'm playing music, if I have a guitar and I'm doing what I love, playing music, whether I'm playing someone else's song or mine, I'm honestly, I wouldn't say equally as happy, but it's right about there. I love playing music. So like, whether I'm playing, somebody else's song as a cover at a wedding, or playing my own song at a big show, it doesn't make a massive difference to my intrinsic, happiness level, if that makes sense. As far as piecing it together, I do private events, and that's been a big way, of making it happen. On the Central Coast, there's plenty of weddings and parties and winery events and different things like that, and so we've got these shows called Under the Moon shows, like concert series around here, where we do like wineries and different, like in the vineyard we have these battery generators, nothing fancy, but we have a lighting rig, a basic lighting rig, really nice PA system. Yeah, we get like a few hundred people out. We sold out, I think, 7 or 8 of them last year, and we're going to do hopefully the same this year. And so we're able to put on our own concerts in the middle of like a winery area, or all these beautiful areas around the Central Coast, basically, which has been a really cool pivot, during these weird times to navigate. So, in particular, to make a living, this is just my opinion, but I do feel like it's very important, if you can learn how to sing and play an instrument. I think that's going to get you far, because it is tricky if you do just play guitar, and there's nothing wrong with that, or play drums, or you play, but if you're able to sing on your own and be able to do events on your own as a solo artist, just to have that balance of, piecing the puzzle together, I think it's a very important skill set to have, to be able to put on a show, or I guess I should rephrase that, just to be able to put on a show on your own, whether it's just solo guitar, although that's tricky, that's a tricky game. And there's nothing wrong with that by any means, but I know some absolutely incredible musicians who are, just guitarists or play just bass or things like that. And it's definitely not about being the lead singer. It's just about having that skill set that allows you to, if you're singing backups for a band, or if you have the ability to sing. So I have a friend that sings backup in his main band, but then he can also sing capably well when he does like a solo event, and can cover a couple hours playing cover songs or whatever, and so he's able to piece together his week by having variety like that. So my point is, just having that, at least a couple different skill sets, so that you're not kind of pigeonholed, I think is important. Collaboration is what makes it fun. I mean, it's what I love about playing music, but it's also a definite challenge in terms of managing personalities. And so, to your point, every musician I've ever worked with has a very distinctly different personality. That's the way. There's no way of treating everybody the same. I don't mean you treat everybody the same, obviously, in terms of kindness and respect and all that, but in terms of everybody's got their different needs, and they're different. And I think a lot of my success has come from, I try to treat my bandmates like great friends. They're not, I don't look at them as like a business associate or like a employee or anything. I've never thought of anybody I've worked with as an employee or anything like that. They're just friends. We're making music. I mean, luckily we're able to make a little bit of money doing it, but they're just great friends that I love, So I think having that mentality, and it's genuine. I mean, I absolutely love everybody I've ever played with. I mean, of course, there's guys that, you wish they'd show up on time, or you wish they'd smoke a little less or whatever. But at the end of the day, I love everybody I've played with like a brother, so. Musically, we all kind of write as a group with the music, and we'll bounce ideas off. And so definitely musically, we're writing as a group. And then lyrics, I write. A lot of times I'll come with a core, the core of the song, and then we'll kind of refine it together. So as far as creative blocks when writing new original songs, I had my daughter was born 5 years, my oldest daughter was born 5 years ago, and I didn't write a song for 4 years. I mean, I had a 3 or 4 year chunk where I barely wrote a song, maybe wrote a song during that time. And it just wasn't a big focus at that point for me, because I was definitely digging into being a dad, and I was able to get by I dug a lot more heavily into the private event thing during that time and all that. So, and just coming out of it in the last couple of years, I've wrote 12 or 15 songs this year, and that's the most I've written in a while. And so it definitely comes in spurts, I think, for me. I know guys that write, 5 songs a day, and it's insane. I don't know how they do it. For me, I feel like when the spirit moves, you just got to be ready. And luckily I've been more in tune to that lately. I think I go through periods where I'm more aware that all right, that's a song right there, let's go for it. And I've lost so many songs over the years, so as far as any songwriters out there, man, if you have that idea and the spirit's moving you a little bit to go try something, you got to get it done then. I've lost so many good songs, so you get halfway through and you're like, I'm gonna save that for later. But the best songs I've ever written, I write in an hour and a half, or it just kind of happens. It just comes through and it just happens. And okay, so this song right here, I just wrote maybe about 6 months back. And I couldn't sleep one night and was just scrolling through the phone, trying to, fall asleep, and came across this quote by Carl Sagan. And he said, "We are all stardust, and to the stars we shall return." And I had to write this song that night, and I got up and I think I wrote it till about 5 in the morning. But anyways, it's called Start Again.
Forever floating around a distant sun, this old circle holds the dreams of the fortunate ones. And some say life is where it begins, and straight to the stars is where it ends, only to start again. To start again. consciousness lifted when we gather around. It's got us flying with the birds to never return to ground. And some say life is where it begins, and straight to the stars is where it ends, only to start again. To start again. Different dimensions dance the same old song. Interconnected is just what we are. And some say life is where it begins, and straight to the stars is where it ends. Yes, some say life is just where it begins, and straight to the stars is where it ends, only to start again. To start again. We all come from the same old thing, whether the Big Bang or Adam and Eve. Like stars paint the sky for as long as they shine. We're floating together and this is our time, when we can start again. Let's start again. 'Cause some say life is where it begins, and straight to the stars is where it ends. Yes, some say life is just where it begins, and straight to the stars is where it ends, only to start again. Let's start again. We'll start again. Let's start again.
At this point, we're writing the best music I have in my life, you know, and I feel really, really good about what we're writing right now. And it's kind of more like this new album is called Galactic Sailors, and it's a little more of the ethereal. I've you know, during COVID times, I've definitely thought about mortality a lot, and just the fleeting nature that is life. And so these songs definitely speak to, like, hey, we're here now, let's live this thing up as best we can. So there's a lot of that element to it, but also like a deeper kind of ethereal cosmic vibe to it, where it's like we're all interconnected in this thing, and yeah, like let's treat each other with kindness and just enjoy the ride. So that's kind of a lot of the songs are centering around that theme right now, and in different ways. Our record label's When It Hits Records, and it's not a whole lot more than a nice and a decent looking logo at this point, but it's what we release our original music under. And I've always kind of been DIY with this thing. We've had offers here and there from record labels, or we've had a booking agency for a while in the past, but I've kind of had an aversion, for better or worse, of the traditional routes in those ways, and I love the DIY approach. We've recorded some music in here, we recorded different studios around the county, and then we'll just use, it's just DistroKid as this distribution, you know, source online, and you just pay a certain amount. I mean, anybody can do it. You pay a certain amount and get it on Spotify, iTunes, you know, all that kind of stuff, and then promote it from there. So there's no barriers to putting your music out there, you know, which is a challenge for, you know, musicians that are trying to do it in this way, because really anybody can put music out these days, which is, it's a blessing and a curse, if that makes sense. All right, welcome to my little home studio setup. Yeah, it's got a lot of fun toys on the wall. This is that Weisenborn guitar I was talking about earlier. You play it with a metal slide. It's got a beautiful sound. I love that thing. My go-to electric, it's a Gretsch, and yeah, I use that thing all the time. I love that. That's my main axe. And the Gibson J45 is the go-to acoustic guitar. And anyways, the rest are kind of different tunings. I play a lot of songs in alternate tunings, so I have different guitars for weird tunings and stuff, just so a quick switch when I'm, playing a show. Yeah. Piano is the main area where I'll write, new songs or come up with ideas and stuff. I usually start a lot of songs on piano. And so, yeah, this is a little studio setup, and we've recorded a lot of songs in this room, and we've recently realized we need a little more separation, so we go to a different studio in SLO that has, partitioned walls and all that, and separation, and we're working with a buddy that does an amazing job engineering it all. And but yeah, so we just pretty much play the song all together to try to get the vibe of the track to get, especially the drums. Like the drum part has to be on point as like the foundation, and then you kind of build it up from there. So yeah, we'll try to keep like usually my guitar part and the drums or something, a couple different things that are locking in well together, and then you can build in the bass track and the lead guitar part and the vocal overdubs and stuff like that. So anyways, we'll play it all together just to make sure we're capturing the live energy and feel, and then we build the track up from there. So. I think for the longest time I would try to just really quickly had a show tuned with my guitar pick, and you just don't get the same response with the guitar pick versus your fingers. So you start on the high side and work my way down low with the fingers. This is kind of the main thing that I learned the hard way a lot of times. You don't get the same like tuning response with the pick, especially if you're rushing. Let's see. All right, let's see. Let's set this thing over here. Okay. I used to, for the longest time, I would mix everything. I'd do all the engineering side of it, and that's another takeaway I would say is like, I've had this DIY approach for most of my career, and a lot of times it's just not the right approach. And there's plenty of people that are experts in their field for a reason, and they should to use people that know what they're doing, and rather than try to spend all these hours learning how to do it on your own, if it's not your specialty, I think it's important. I think that is one takeaway that I definitely, and I wouldn't say it's a regret necessarily, because I love all the different hats I've worn and the skill sets I've worked on, but at the same time, like our friend Tyson that's engineering us now, it's just night and day what he can do, versus what I was able to do as far as recording ourselves. So yeah, it's just different. It's a different skill set, and it's different mindset, and also just if you're focusing on the music side, you got to be in the moment for that. You don't want to be dealing with troubleshooting on the computer, so. Being able to be creative at any time, and have the like I said, that song "Start Again" that I played earlier, I wrote that thing at like 4 a.m. in here, and so I'm not bothering my wife and the kids. So anyways, I'll write a song on the piano here at like 3 a.m. sometimes, or stuff like that. So really just having the space to where you can quickly get up and have some inspiration. Doesn't have to be soundproofed or anything like that, but a room in the house where you can get a little bit louder and have your ability to create is huge. Yeah. For me, just recording on my phone, when you have a song idea or a concept or a phrase, I'll record that idea on my phone, and just trying to stay on it, just trying to not lose sight of it and let it get become an old idea that you kind of lose the feeling of. So I think if you have that idea and that spark, seeing it through as quickly as you can, that's been the big thing for me, is like when you have this idea that you think could be good, whether or not it ends up good or bad, like you see it through You know, you try to see it through as quickly as you can while you still have that emotion and that feeling about it. The thing that's driven me in being able to be successful with what I do, I think, is, first of all, like I said earlier, like the balance of knowing that I want it to be a part of my life, not my entire life. Like I want it to be a part of my family's life, and I want them to experience with me. And so having a balance to it, and not, because it's so easy with art, you know, because it's so hard to do. You have to like devote an insane amount of time. And I'm not saying I have like perfect balance to life by any means, because I don't. But trying to always keep sight of like, this is not 100% of who I am. It's a portion of who I am. And, you know, a huge part of that is being a family man. And I want to combine those two worlds as best as I can. And I think that's helped it be a healthy thing for me, because I see so many musicians that are all in all the time. And I get why, because it takes that amount of work to be successful. And I've definitely been there before, but I'm kind of shifting towards a way in which I feel like it's becoming a part of the puzzle rather than the entire thing. And that feels really good and healthy for anybody trying to make a career in the arts of any kind. And maybe this is totally stating the obvious, but I feel really strongly about treating everybody with love and respect, and never trying to be a hot shot. You know, it's like, you get some artists that they get a big head and you think you're, you know, and I've had moments of that, no doubt. You know, you get pumped up after a big show, everybody's singing your songs, and you got 600 people screaming in a room for you or whatever, and you can get a little hot, you know, a little big-headed here and there. And I'm not trying to say I've never had moments of that, for sure. But I think you try to ground yourself and remember, like, our job is just to provide entertainment for people and to provide some joy and happiness and some, you know, diversion to the hardships of daily life for people, and just keep inside of that, like, you know, we're providing a service for people, and we're not any better than the next guy because we play an instrument. You know, we're literally just doing our jobs, and the fact that we get to do this job is for sure cool. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I thank my lucky stars every day, but at the same time, like, being humble and being kind, I know it's cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. You got to be humble, kind, and respect, you know, the people you work with, and everybody from the security at the venue to the owner of the venue deserves that same level of love and respect. And I think that is something that's helped a lot throughout the years. And I think that as a leader in your operation, if you emanate that and you show that in a genuine way, the people around you that work with you will level up their game, even if they're lacking in some of those areas. At times they'll level up their game and rise up with you to treat everybody that you encounter with that same level of love and respect. And then the other thing that I would just reiterate is, for me, I think growing up in high school, you know, coming up in high school with it, my parents definitely would throw out a lot of like, well, why don't you just do it on the side and you can be a lawyer, or this and that and the other. And I got that from every angle, and you know, from the counselor at high school, from my parents, from friends of my parents, from my uncles. Like, they'd come up at a party like completely uninvited on this topic, right, and just say, you know, you got to get your degree, you got to do this, and then play the music on the side, you know. At the end of the day, it's your journey. So if I'd have any takeaway at the end, you know, we only get one life, who knows, and it's fleeting. I mean, like, just live it up and do what you love. And as long as you put in the work and you're extremely good at what you do, because that definitely is first and foremost. If you're really good at what you do and you believe in that and you know that, then you know, it's only your call as how you run that thing. I mean, your parents are amazing. You know, everybody, we love our parents, but ultimately it's our life, and we have to choose what's going to make us happy every day waking up. You know, and so, anyways, so for me, the Plan A thing was always music, and Plan B wasn't a thing. And I really think that that's the biggest reason why I've had success. Just, you know, not really acknowledging that Plan B was a thing.